Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.
Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam.
Welcome to the beautiful Shri Shri Radha Vinodihari Mandir. Oops. Mic is here, sorry. Shri Vrindavan Dham.
Jai ho.
Srila Gurudev ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Rupanuga Gauriya Guru Varga ki jai. Patit Pavan Shri Nityananda Prabhu ki jai. Prem Purushottam Shachinandana Gaura Hari ki jai. Radha Vinodihari Ju ki jai. Radha Ramana Ju ki jai. Giriraj Maharaj ki jai. Harinam Sankirtana ki jai. Hare Krishna Mahamantra ki jai. Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Shri Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bo. Their new Shringar ki jai.
Dandavat Pranam, all Vaishnavas.
Dandava Pranam.
Kishori said.
I made a little mistake.
He has a cold.
A little cold. Oh, so Devi, you're going to have to put some candles out eventually, no? Not right now, but sometime soon.
Well, why don't we just do it now?
Okay.
Can you hand them to me?
They're in there, in the corner. So, yeah, last night, kind of late, I took coconut water, coconut dab. I'm not supposed to take that at night. It's very cooling, and I slept under the AC. And so, both together, I woke up with a little bit of a sinus thing in this side. So if you see my eyes tearing up, it's not because of bhav or anything else. It's simply because I have a little bit of sinus problem.
That one doesn't seem so good.
No.
So this one where?
I don't know. As long as it's not covering Mahaprabhu. It still has to put light on him. There we go. Okay. So we will begin with Mangalacharan, the auspicious invocation, calling for the mercy, the grace, the presence, the sidelong glances of our beloved Gurudev, our beloved Srila Prabhupada, our Rupanuga Gauriya Guru Varga, Shri Nityananda Prabhu, Shri Shachinandan Gaura Hari, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, going all the way back to the original Guru, who is Krishna himself, and his Guru of Prem, Vrishabhanunandini, Srimati Radharani. As Krishna says, you can find it in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Radhikar Prema Guru, Ami Shishya Nata. Radhika is my Guru of Prem, and I am simply her dancing pupil. She makes me dance various novel dances according to her tune. So calling for the mercy of all of these divine transcendental personalities, we will begin on page 1 within this beautiful bhajan treasure trove, Shri Gauriya Giti Guccha, Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam. Dandavat Pranam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam. Shri Guru Vaishnavangscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvetam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagano Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitangscha Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha नम ॐ विष्णुपादाय राधिकाय प्रियात्मने श्री श्रीमद्भक्तिवेदान्त नारायणीति नामिने श्रीकृष्णलीलाकथाने सुदाक्षम् औदर्यमाधुर्यगुणैश्च युक्तं वरं वरेण्यं पुरुषं महान्तं नारायणं त्वां शिरसो नमामि त्रिदन्दिनं भक्तशिरोमणिं च श्रीकृष्णपादाब्जतैकहृद्ये चैतन्यलीलामृतसारसारं नारायणं त्वां सततं प्रपद्ये नम ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे नम ॐ विष्णुपादाय गौरप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्री श्रीमद्भक्तिप्रज्ञान केशव इति नामिने अतिमर्त्यचरित्राय स्वश्रितानां च पालिने जीवदुःखे सदर्ताय श्रीनाम प्रेमदायिने नम ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिसिद्धान्त सरस्वती इति नामिने श्रीवर्षभानवी देवी दयिताय कृपाब्धये कृष्णसम्बन्धविज्ञान दयिने प्रभवे नमः माधुर्योज्ज्वलप्रेमाद्य श्रीरूपानुगभक्तिदा श्रीगौरकरुणाशक्ति विग्रहाय नमोऽस्तुते नमस्ते गौरवाणी श्रीमूर्तये दिनतारिणे रूपानुगविरुद्धाप सिद्धान्तध्वन्तहारिणे नमो गौरकिशोराय साक्षाद्वैराग्यमूर्तये विप्रलम्भरसम्बोधे पदम्बुजायते नमः नमो भक्तिविनोदाय सच्चिदानन्दनामिने गौरशक्तिस्वरूपाय रूपानुगवरायते गौराविर्भावभूमेस्त्वं निर्दिष्टा सजनप्रिय वैष्णवः सर्वभौमश्री जगन्नाथाय ते नमः वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये जयतां सुरतोपङ्गो मम मन्दमतिर्गति मत्सर्वस्वपदम्बोजो राधामदनमोहनो दिव्यद्बृन्दारण्यकल्पद्रुमद श्रीमद्रत्नागारसिंहासनस्थो श्री श्रीराधा श्रीलगोविन्ददेव प्रेष्ठालिभिः सेव्यमानो स्मरामि श्रीमन्द्रसरसारम्भि वंशीवतत्ततस्थितः कार्षन्वेणुस्वनैर्गोपीर्गोपीनाथ श्रियेस्तु नः वृन्दाये तुलसीदेव्यै प्रियायै केशवस्य च कृष्णभक्तिप्रदे देवी सत्यवत्यै नमो नमः। पञ्चतत्त्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकम्। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद। चेतो दर्पणमार्जनं भवमहादावग्निर्वापनं श्रेयकैरवचन्द्रिका वितरणं विद्यावधूजीवनम्। आनन्दं बुद्धिवर्धनं प्रतिपदं पूर्णामृतास्वादनं सर्वात्मस्नपनं परं विजयते श्रीकृष्णसङ्कीर्तनम्। हरेर्नाम हरेर्नामेव केवलं कलौ नास्त्येव 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 गतिरन्यथा। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। दंडवत प्रणाम all Vaishnavas. Now we will call for the mercy and grace of Sri Gurudev. Jai Jai Shri Guru Prema Kalpataru, page 29 by Vaishnav Das. Yes, JJ, thank you. Jayo Jayo Shri Guru Prema Kalpataru. Jaya Jaya Shri Guru Prema Kalpataru. Adbhuta Jako Parokash, Adbhuta Jako Parokash, Iyayogeya Timiro Suchandra Kirane Karunash, Suchandra Kirane Karunash. আনন্দ ইহলোচন আনন্দ অযাচিত মোহেন পতিত হেরি যো অযাচিত মোহেন পতিত হেরি যো যাচি দেয়ন হরি নাম যাচি দেয়ন হরি নাম দূরমতি আগতি সততয় সতে দূরমতি আগতি সততয় সতে মতি নাহি সুকৃতি লবলেশ নাহি সুকৃতি লবলেশ শ্রী বৃন্দাবন যুগল ভজন ধন শ্রী বৃন্দাবন যুগল ভজন ধন তাহে করলো তাহে করলো উপদেশ নিরমল গৌর প্রেম রস সিঞ্চনে নিরমল গৌর প্রেম রস সিঞ্চনে পুরলো জগজন আশ পুরলো জগজন আশ সোচরণাম্বুজে রতি নাহি হোয়ালো সোচরণাম্বুজে রতি নাহি হোয়ালো প্রূয়ত বৈষ্ণবদাস প্রূয়ত বৈষ্ণবদাস জয় জয় শ্রী গুরু প্রেম কল্পতরু জয় জয় শ্রী গুরু প্রেম কল্পতরু অদ্ভুত যাকো পরকাশ অদ্ভুত যাকো পরকাশ অদ্ভুত যাকো পরকাশ অদ্ভুত যাকো পরকাশ গুরুদেব জয় গুরুদেব গুরু Prabhupada Jayo Prabhupada Jai Prabhupada Prabhupada Jai Prabhupada Guru Parampara Guru Parampara Guru Parampara Guru Parampara Guru Parampara Guru Parampara Parampara Guru Parampara Srila Gurudeva Ki Jai Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Rupanuga Gauriya Guru Varga Ki Jai Shri Guru Parampara Ki Jai. Sorry Rudra Prabhu, it's not being cropped. The candle is just taking a slight bit of a place of prominence there. O He Vaishnava Thakur, Dayar Sagar, Idase Kurunakori, calling out for the mercy of the Vaishnavas. Page 39 by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. If we don't put the candles there, then when the lights go out, you won't be able to see them. So that one is cropping Srimati Radhika's skirt a little bit. We don't want to put real fire up there. Maybe, I'm not sure. What? Yes, the lights go out a lot. O He Vaishnava Thakuro Doyaro Sagaro He Dase Karuna Kori Vaishnava Thakuro Doyaro Sagaro He Dase Karuna Kori Diya Pado Chaya Shodho He Amare Tomaro Charano Dhori Diya Pado Chaya Shodho He Amare Tomaro Charano Dhori Vaishnava Thakuro Doyaro Sagaro Edase Karuna Kori Vaishnava Thakuro Doyaro Sagaro Edase Karuna Kori Chaya Vegadomi Chaya Dosha Shodhi Chaya Guna Deho Dase Chaya Vegadomi Chaya Dosha Shodhi Chaya Guna Deho Dase Chaya Satta Sanga Deho He Amare Boshechi Sangero Yashe Chaya Satta Sanga Deho He Amare Boshechi Sangero Ashe O He Vaishnava Thakuro Doyaro Sagaro Edase Karuna Kori বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর দয়ারো সাগর এ দাসে করুণা করে একাকী আমা নাহি পাইব হরি নাম সংকীর্তনে একাকী আমা নাহি পাইব হরি নাম সংকীর্তনে তুমি কৃপা করি শ্রদ্ধা বিন্দু দিয়া দেহ কৃষ্ণ নাম ধরে তুমি কৃপা করি শ্রদ্ধা বিন্দু দিয়া দেহ কৃষ্ণ নাম ধরে ওহে বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর দয়ারো সাগর এ দাসে করুণা করে বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর দয়ারো সাগর এ দাসে করুণা করে কৃষ্ণ সে তোমার কৃষ্ণ দিতে পারো তোমারো শক্তি আছে কৃষ্ণ সে তোমার কৃষ্ণ দিতে পারো তোমারো শক্তি আছে আমি তো গঙ্গা কৃষ্ণ কৃষ্ণ বলি ধাই তো পাছে পাছে আমি তো কাঙ্গাল কৃষ্ণ কৃষ্ণ বলি ধাই তো পাছে পাছে আমি তো কাঙ্গাল কৃষ্ণ কৃষ্ণ বলি আমি তো কাঙ্গাল কৃষ্ণ কৃষ্ণ বলি ধাই তো পাছে পাছে ধাই তো পাছে পাছে ওহে বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর দয়ারো সাগর এ দাসে করুণা করি বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর দয়ারো সাগর এ দাসে করুণা করি বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর জয় বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর জয় বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর জয় বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর প্রভু কৃপা করো মোরে দয়া করো কৃপা করো মোরে দয়া করো প্রভু কৃপা করো মোরে দয়া করো কৃপা করো মোরে দয়া করো All Vaishnava Thakurs ki Jai. Please forgive me for any serious snorting. As I told in the very beginning, kind of gave myself a cold. I drank coconut water and dab kind of late last night, and then I slept in quite cool air conditioning through the night and woke up with a little bit of a sinus issue. So hopefully, if I breathe the humid and very hot air and just take care of myself with mineral water, real mineral water, it will disappear quickly. Now we will call for the mercy of Sri Rupa Goswami Pad. Page 51, Shuniyachi Sadhu Mukhe Bole Sarvajan by Srila Narottam Das Thakur. Shuniyachi sadhu mukhe bole sarvajana. Shuniyachi sadhu mukhe bole sarvajana. Shri Rupa kripayo mile jugal charana. Shri Rupa kripayo mile jugal charana. Ha ha Prabhu sanatano gora parivaro. Ha ha Prabhu sanatano gora parivaro. Sabe mili vancha purno koro hoya amaro. Sabe mili vancha purno koro hoya amaro. Shri Rupero kripa jeno yama prati hoyo. Shri Rupero kripa jeno ama prati hoyo. Se pada ashrayo ja se mahashoyo. Se pada ashrayo ja se mahashoyo. Prabhu lokonatho kabe sange loiya jabe. Prabhu lokonatho kabe sange loiya jabe. Shri Rupero pado padme more samarpibe. Shri Rupero pado padme more samarpibe. Heno ki hoibe moro narma sakhi gone. Heno ki hoibe moro narma sakhi gone. Anugata narotame horibe shasone. Anugata narotame horibe shasone. Shuniyachi sadhu mukhe bole sarvajano. Shuniyachi sadhu mukhe bole sarvajano. Shri Rupa kripayo mile jugal charana. Shri Rupa kripayo mile jugal charana. Rupa Goswami Prabhu Rupa Goswami. 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 Rupa Sanatan Jai Rupa Sanatan. Rupa Sanatan Jai Rupa Sanatan. Rupa Sanatan Rupa Sanatan Sanatan, Jai Rupa Sanatan. Prabhu Hai, 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 Prabhu Hai. Shri Rupa Goswami Pad Ki Jai, Shri Sanatan Goswami Pad Ki Jai, Shri Shad Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai, Shri Rupanuga Guru Varga Ki Jai. Yes, Raknambar Prabhu. Half attention is better than no attention. When the pure Vaishnava is speaking, giving Harikatha or any form of Hari Kirtan, glorifying the names, forms, qualities, and pastimes of the Lord, at that time, especially when the pure Vaishnava is giving that, it is recommended that you put everything else down and give all of your senses 100% to what they are giving, because there is nothing that we can do on our own that is remotely even close, even in terms of our own practice of bhakti, remotely as close as receiving that mercy they're giving Krishna in the form of Harikatha. That's why Srila Gurudev told us that one time we were in Taliban. If I see any devotees chanting their japa on their malas during the parikrama kirtan, I will take your mala from you. Do you think that your own private chanting on the side is more powerful than the kirtan of Mahaprabhu? Do you know who is leading this parikrama? He said, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu, Gadadhar Pandit, Advaita Acharya, Srivas Thakur. Panchatattva is leading it. And who else is in that kirtan party? Rup, Sanatan, Bhatta Raghunath, Shrijiv Gopala, Bhatta Das Raghunath. All of our Gaudiya Guru Varga, our Guru Parampara are there in that kirtan. And all of their devotees. Do you think that your own kirtan is more powerful? Your own private chanting of japa on the side? He said, so if I see anyone with your japa mala not participating in kirtan, I will take your mala from you. And we were like, whoo, like that. He said it basically if you had your hand in your mala. So he was showing us what we should prioritize and what we should avoid doing. What is more powerful, what is more beneficial, depending on time, place, and circumstance. When he was giving Harikatha, I didn't see anyone with their hands on their malas. But it might be, when others were giving Harikatha, he may have had his hands on his mala. And he can digest and process that, because transcendental personalities are able to serve Krishna in all ways, at all times. Even simultaneously. Hare Krishna Mahamantra and hearing, they're able to function in that way. Most of us need to be one-pointed. Some people, like Madhumangal, who would travel with us playing Mridanga for a few years, he had an amazing capacity to receive and retain. But he couldn't really do so if he just had to sit there. Then he would be out somewhere else. But if he had something like a coloring book, which we gave him, and some colored pencils, he was able to do that. And then afterward, he remembered every single detail of what was being said. So also, this is for us individually, something to look at, how we can practically benefit the most. And so there's a basic principle in spiritual life. Accept what is favorable, avoid what is unfavorable. And we should not cheat ourselves or try to cheat Guru and Krishna, because they know also. But if we see something that is good and favorable and that assists us in awakening our greed, awakening our devotion for bhakti, for Krishna, for Guru Seva, then that we should embrace. What inspires us? For some, it might just be a class on how to So for Thakurji. For others it might be shloka competition. For others it might be a cooking class. We don't know where each individual is on their own level of progression. Today I was with some devotees, Vrindavan Bilasini Didi and Baijanti Mala Didi. And we were discussing different subjects. We were talking about Gurudev and Prabhupada and so many different subjects, but also the subject of medicine came. And not all cures are for each individual. Exactly. For some they do better with allopathic, others do better with Ayurvedic, others do better with Chinese medicine, others do better with homeopathic, etc. And even if you take Ayurvedic, well, for one person it's different than for another person. So it's not just the same prescription. So underlying, Sri Guru gives us a general prescription for everyone. That's the foundational. That would be something like have a good diet and avoid foods which are rajasic and tamasic in nature, so that you don't get sick or don't increase your passions. This is one thing. But then on top of that, there are other individual necessities, and those would be the individual instructions from Sri Gurudev for each individual's progression on the path of bhakti. And what prescription might be given to me might not be given to another. Srila Gurudev, at the end of every festival, he used to glorify all of those who participated in the festival. And the persons who were speaking, he didn't give the most glorification to. Those who were cooking in the kitchen. Those who were cleaning up afterward. And he would say, if they didn't do that, then no one would be able to cook. And then he gave the most glorification to those who were cleaning the toilets. He said if that wasn't done, everyone would be disturbed, no one would be able to function properly. So he was giving glorifications or acknowledgement to all of the different sevas, not necessarily placing one above the other. And we've seen this also, this example in Sri Ramchandra. Hanuman was carrying these massive, massive mountains, jumping through the air and throwing them into the ocean. Of course, chanting Jai Shri Ram and throwing them in the ocean, and they would magically float. And that little squirrel, chipmunk, he was only throwing what he could according to his capacity. He was doing the same function, but only according to his capacity. He could not carry things more than he could lift. And he was also throwing it in. And Hanuman was like, what's the use? What is that going to do? It's not really going to help our cause. Look at what we're throwing in and look at what you're doing. Sri Ram pulled Hanuman to the side and said, he's doing the best according to his own capacity. And you can actually do so much more. I heard that Sri Ram was so pleased with this squirrel making that endeavor to assist him, that Ram pet that squirrel with 2 fingers on his back, and from that chipmunk, and from that came the original 2 stripes on the back of the squirrel, being touched by the lotus hands of Sri Ram. Gurudev would glorify the speakers. He just didn't necessarily glorify them as the topmost or the greatest. He gave everyone acknowledgement according to their individual sevas. But also sometimes we look over there, hey, you're not serving, you're not doing service, do service. And everyone thinks service means to be in the kitchen. Gurudev called me out of the kitchen and told me your service is to always be here in Kirtan. Others can do that one. So this also coincides with the instructions of Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, that one should do their own duty, even if imperfectly, rather than doing someone else's duty perfectly. This is an important instruction. So, for one, their seva might be kirtan. Another one might be cooking. Another one might be cleaning. Another one would be picking flowers and making garlands. Another one would be dressing Thakurji. Another would be cleaning Gurudev's room. Others would be maybe peeling the vegetables. So many different sevas are there, and they're all valuable in their own right and all beneficial. So what is favorable? What is going to attract me to want to move forward on the path of bhakti? What is going to inspire my heart? And this doesn't mean just anything. This also should be done under guidance, because so many things might inspire us for now but can actually become detrimental later on. So we should basically move with our eyes open. We should move very carefully. That's why so many instructions from Guru, Sadhu and Shastra have been given about what is favorable and what is not favorable. Oh, when I go to this kirtan is so beautiful and thousands of people are coming together and singing, and it makes me feel like I'm in heaven, like I'm part of the spiritual world. But maybe the person leading could be of the Mayavadi inclination and most of the audience. For a bhakta, this could be actually detrimental to their progression in bhakti, even though it feels good for the time being. So we should not be blind or callous to the instructions which our Guru Varga have given. Always we must have this balance, looking at what is favorable, but not just in terms of what I like, but according to Guru, Sadhu and Shastra. And also seeing what is unfavorable, not just according to what I don't like. Oh, I don't like the bitter melon, so I'm going to throw it away. Well, it might be Mahaprasad, in which case then we would be creating some kind of prasad aparad, because we're rejecting this because I don't like it. But if Krishna has taken it, if Gurudev has taken it, and we're throwing it, then we're being disrespectful. So it's not just about what I like and what I don't like, but finding those aspects that are within the confines of the teachings of Guru, Sadhu and Shastra, which can actually properly propel us forward on the path of devotion. Also understanding what is unfavorable for bhakti and then moving along that path. Still, there's so much room for manifesting individuality, personality, and also those particular aspects which are inspirational for our Atma. What will move us? What will inspire us? What will increase our greed on the path of devotion? So I was happy making those cakes, but Gurudev wasn't happy that I was making the cakes. So this one then becomes the important issue. What is pleasing to Gurudev? Even if I was attached to that, I should give that up and try to do what is pleasing to Gurudev. And it didn't hurt me any. But it didn't hurt me any to give that up and do what Gurudev wanted. But I know that giving that up and doing what Gurudev wanted, this can actually increase one's bhakti sukriti rapidly. Excuse me, I'm just going to go back a little bit. Are there any questions? So, what is Vaijayanti Maladiri's name? Vaijayanti Mala Didi. She is technically widowed because her previous husband had taken sannyas. So it's not appropriate to speak about his name. So her Prabhu is her Gurudev, that is Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. I hope I did that right. You just reminded me of the question that was asked from Lakshman to Lavan Kush. Oh, who is your mother? Who is your father? And they said, we thought you were intelligent. Can't you see we're brahmacharis? This is an inappropriate question to ask to brahmacharis. You should only ask who is your Gurudev. So her Prabhu is Guru Gauranga and Radha Krishna. And she is definitely Vanaprashta, living in Vrindavan. So this Vanaprastha, staying at Gopinath Bhavan. Sudevi, what's the name of Srimati Radhika's nose pearl? Can you remember? Okay, that is the 50,000 Sukriti points question. So, whoever knows the answer to that, someone's going to look it up really quick. We have Google Dave now and database. The name of Radhika's nose pearl. She must have more than one. But anyhow, whoever knows that, let's see, you won't get coconut water at night. Mango lassi sounds about right. And I see Shanakarishi, Hare Krishna, Dandava Pranam. Any chance I can elaborate a bit on the dangers of listening to bhajans or Krishna Katha chanted by impersonalists? Why is it so dangerous and discouraged by our acharyas? Ooh. The impersonalist conception denies the personality of Godhead, denies the personality of servitor Godhead, that means the devotee, and it also denies the relationship between them, which is love and affection or prem. It sees that the form of Krishna is a product of Maya. The form of Radha or the devotee is a product of Maya. And the relationship between them is also Maya. In other words, they see that it is all illusion. Because it is denying Radha, it is Aparadha, Apagata Radha, against Radha or against what she represents. She is the Adhishtatri Devata of Hladini Shakti, or the potency, the pleasure-giving potency, love, affection, bliss, happiness. And because it is against Radha and against devotion, Krishna sees it also as Aparadha, and therefore he takes it personally. He takes it personally like a thunderbolt to his own heart. And I just read it today. Interestingly enough, Vrindavan Vilasini Didi sent a quote from our Srila Gurudev, which was talking about that kind of aparad. It was talking about aparad. That if someone has this mood which is actually, technically, against the personality of Krishna, against his devotees, and against love and affection, or completely denying it, then this is known as aparad. And the result of their chanting will not be prem, will not be bhakti, but rather will bring them in the exact opposite direction. And this is quite a shock for many people to hear. But if you see in our scriptures, again and again and again, this is told. And our gurus have all told it as well. Krishna reciprocates according to how one approaches him. So if one is approaching Krishna in a way that is like a thunderbolt to his heart, rejecting prem, rejecting love, and rejecting his beloved, and rejecting all of his beloveds, means all of his devotees, whom he says are my very heart and soul. Govinda Kohina Mama Vaishnava Paran. Govinda Kohina means Govinda himself. Krishna is saying, Mama Vaishnava Pran. My devotees, they are my life, my own Atma. So, to participate in that, or to have that kind of mindset while chanting the names, the glories, the pastimes of Krishna, or even speaking about his forms, but having that kind of underlying intent, it actually can have a dramatic detrimental effect. That's why Mahaprabhu says, Mayabara bhasa shunile hoy sarvanash. Hearing and entertaining these conceptions, this will destroy everything. What will it destroy? Our inclination to move forward on the path of devotion to Krishna. So let me just read that direct quote to you, because there's nothing better than a direct quote. Our Gurudev spoke in Holland on the 7th of June, 2001, almost exactly 20 years ago. If you commit Nama Aparad and Vaishnava Aparad, and at the same time you are chanting the holy name, what will be the result? Especially if you are criticizing Vaishnavas, you will have to go to hell. Now, I don't know exactly what kind of hell this is referring to. Generally, it means that one loses their inclination on the path of devotion and becomes completely absorbed in trying to accumulate wealth, trying to enjoy one's senses, and trying to gain position, power, name, fame, and all of these things. So Kanaka Kamani and Pratishta are inflamed and enhanced greatly. In other words, their inclination for bhakti is stunted. So, the holy name cannot bear anyone criticizing his devotees. Sri Krishna will make another kind of hell for you, a special kind of hell. He considers that these present hells are not enough. Now that's a really heavy, powerful statement. But it's something that we should also take into consideration. Who's criticizing Vaishnavas? Also, Mayavad criticizes, rejects, and denies the devotee. So Krishna sees it as aparad to his devotees. That's why he takes it so personally. Nam is Nam. Krishna's name is Krishna's name. If it was not his name, he wouldn't take it personally. It's his name. So when anyone is chanting his name, if they're chanting it with a mood which is against love and affection and against his devotees, he cannot tolerate that because they are his heart and soul. So therefore, the result is not positive, it is negative. And it's a difficult pill to swallow, because sometimes we take this set of instructions, the sweet ones that are all nice and that make us feel nice and fluffy and light, but these ones are great warnings for us. Both need to be there, anukulyasya sankalpa and pratikulyasya varjanam. What is favorable? Yes, we must embrace that. But we should also know what is unfavorable so that we don't get caught in the traps, the snares of Maya or anything that is unfavorable that can also become aparad to Hari Guru and Vaishnavas. So let me see. Okay. So that in itself, that is generally for those who are grotesquely or overtly offensive. There are many people who are what we might call innocents. They don't really subscribe to that. They just kind of are floating and they happen to like this thing or that thing. That's something different. For someone like that, maybe just hearing Hare Krishna might wake them up and they might start searching for the real thing. For someone who is already embarked on the path of Rupanuga Bhakti, who has taken shelter of any bona fide Gurudev within our Rupanuga Guru Varga, to then subsequently go and associate with those who have this offensive mentality toward Hari Guru and Vaishnavas and to Srimati Radhika, this can be detrimental to their progress on the path of devotion. So now that I've told you that very, very heavy thing, let me tell you a nice positive thing, because we have to. I read this today from our Srila Prabhupada. He wrote it in a letter to Jayatirtha and Manjuwali in 1975. And this is why one must endeavor to be under the shelter of any pure Vaishnava. It's essential. Otherwise, on our own, we can very easily make some big offenses without even realizing it. So Srila Prabhupada is saying, I have invited Krishna, and he may not be insulted by disrespectful behavior. I have introduced this system of deity worship amongst the non-believers, the atheists, the mlechas, the yavanas. And I pray to Krishna that I am inviting you to come. So please, because you are seated in their hearts, give them the intelligence how to serve you so that you may not be inconvenienced. I have introduced this system to the mlechas, the yavanas, and the lowest and the fallen, but still it is successful. This is the mercy of the pure devotees. Despite our disqualifications, despite our fallen condition, despite being from the backgrounds of mlechas and yavanas and atheists and so many different sinful tendencies, the pure devotee is beseeching Krishna on our behalf. Please be merciful. Please overlook their ignorance or their arrogance and accept what little devotion they have. They are pure jivas. Their nature is to love and serve you. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayantite tesham satatyatanam bhajatam pritipurvakam. Who surrenders unto me with loving devotion, I give them the understanding by which they can come to me. So Srila Prabhupada is referencing that here, that please, you are situated within their hearts, so give them that understanding so that they will be able to serve you in a way that does not inconvenience you. I have requested you to come and accept their service. So this is such a beautiful gift from Krishna's devotees, and therefore Krishna is bound by the love of his devotees to accept. Shunya amar duk Vaishnava Thakur amalagi Krishne avedi bene prachur Vaishnavera avedane Krishna doyamoy ehino pamare prati havena sadoy. Seeing our pitiful condition, the Vaishnava petitions the Lord profusely on our behalf, and hearing their prayer, he gives his mercy. So I just wanted to share the opposite of what we previously discussed, because it's a heavy subject matter and it's quite frightening, but taking shelter of the devotees of Krishna. This is our hope. This is our chance. This is our aspiration. Now, all the way to perfection and in perfection, forever, always. The association of Krishna's devotees, pure devotees, is the most essential thing. Is it still going? Let me see. Hare Krishna. Let me just see something. Okay. No, the thing is filming fine. It's okay. I'm just making sure. Let me just double check here. Okay. Yadava, Dandava Pranam, Radhe Radhe. For that question, I personally heard Srila Bhakti Vedanta Siddhanti Maharaj, when Harikatha is spoken by impersonalists or non-devotees, it is not actually Harikatha, it is Chayakatha, like Chayasita, Ravan kidnapped. And then he quoted the shlok, Avaishnava Mukod Girnam. Yes, so it is not considered pure Harikatha. Who gives Harikatha? Who has Krishna can give Krishna. But there is something there. Otherwise, Krishna wouldn't take it personally, but who has this nature. They're chanting Krishna's name. It's not necessarily the pure name. They are chanting something else. So, Nam Aparad means offensive name, or Namabhas, some shadow or reflection of the pure name, or Shuddhanam, the pure name. The name is the name, but how one is approaching it to that extent, that is the reciprocation they're getting. And if one is approaching the name of Krishna with a mood which is against his pure devotees, then the result of that is not Krishna bhakti, but rather, as our Gurudev said, a hellish condition. But thank you for sharing that, Yadava. So, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also mentions this, it is spoken about in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, that milk which is touched by the lips of a serpent, it is still milk, but it has that poisonous or negative effect. Because the poison has entered. Even one drop, it looks like milk, tastes like milk, feels like milk. Even in the beginning might feel great, but gradually that poisonous effect takes place. This is a danger, because something might look like one thing, but it can be completely different. I specifically remember Srila Gurudev in 1996 at Govardhan, when the district officer of Govardhan stood up to speak. He had just received that position and he was speaking, and he spoke very nice Harikatha, and then at the very end he said something, some statement was something like, basically it's all one, we're all Brahm, that is, we're all this, it is us and we are it. Something like that. And Srila Gurudev immediately challenged him. How can you be the district officer of Govardhan and have this kind of conception which is against the mood of love and devotion, against bhakti? And that person was on the floor, holding their ears. And Gurudev said, promise me that you won't speak like this again. And they were a very prominent politician at that place. And Gurudev said, how can you be in such a position and have this kind of conception, which is against bhakti? And then after he left, Gurudev gave a warning to all of us. Srila Gurudev said, there are those who are so expert, they know thousands of verses, and they can speak Harikatha. He said they can speak in such a way that thousands of people in the audience will be weeping, and they will also be weeping. And everyone will be feeling so much. And then at the end, they will say, it is all one. He said, for every shlok you know, they know 100 verses. And for every one of those, they know another 100. And they can run circles around you with Tattva Siddhant. But what is their internal mood? What is their end goal? He said, so we should be very careful. It's not just what's pleasing to our ears, what seems nice, how much someone knows, how many verses someone knows, but what is their aspiration? What is their goal? Is their goal bhakti, bhav and prem? What is their lineage? What kind of moods are they carrying in their heart? What are they transmitting to us? And how can they help us to move forward toward the goal? And this is all essential and important to understand. I saw something interesting today, and I have to share it with you. It was a picture of a room that was fully painted red. And in the corner was a little white patch with a bucket of paint and the person standing there, I think. And it said, before beginning a project, you should plan the end. In other words, what's your goal? Because they ended up being in the corner, they basically painted themselves into a corner and they couldn't finish the job or get out. So planning the end, that means what is my goal? What is my aspiration? If we do not have a fixed goal or an aspiration, then technically what we are doing cannot be called sadhana. Kriti sadhya bhavet sadhya bhavasa sadhana bida nitya siddhasya bhavasya prakatyam hridi sadhyata. if we don't have the goal of bhav bhakti, then what we're doing is not necessarily sadhana. Sadhana means all of those activities that one does to attain the goal of bhav bhakti. And the goal of bhav bhakti is prema bhakti. So our Srila Gurudev really wanted to increase within the hearts of his disciples a mood of intense eagerness, more like a greed, an intense, greedy desire to attain our goal of service to Radha and Krishna in Vrindavan, Radha Dasyam specifically. He wanted to inspire that particular goal, that we should have such an intense eagerness and greed for that. And then whatever we would do on the path of devotion, with that goal in the end, everything would be favorable. But if we don't have a goal, then we take on so many things and we end up floating for a long, long time. A little bit of this, a little bit of that. Jack of all trades, master of nothing. I just read a quote from Srila Prabhupada the other day about that. He was speaking, better to just focus and become good, one-pointed at Krishna Bhakti. I can't remember the exact quote, but he was saying, why be a jack of all trades but a master of nothing? You should master this process. So he wanted that we would all become pure devotees. So we should understand that the Harikatha, or the holy name, means Hare Krishna Mahamantra, spoken by or coming from the mouth of the pure devotee or Sri Guru, is not the same as the sound of Hare Krishna mantra or any Harikatha coming from the mouth of anyone who is a atheist or a Mayavadi or an offender, an aparadhi, like this. And it is also not the same as someone who is progressing on the path of devotion but still has anarthas in their heart, who has not yet experienced Krishna. The effect will not be the same. The effect of the pure name is, of course, that prem will manifest. The effect of namabhas is that the anticipation of prem will be there. It is something which is coming on the horizon. There is something. And also, so much karma, everything is wiped out. Completely. Everything is wiped out. And the reaction or the result of nam aparad is, this is offensive chanting, is the increase of kanaka kamani pratishta. The attraction for accumulating wealth, for enjoying all kinds of sense gratification, and for name, fame, position, power, and all of these things. Labh, puja, pratishta. Name and fame, worship. So, there are different results. If one is under guidance of any Vaishnava and continues to chant with sincerity, by the guidance of that Vaishnava, praying for that particular goal, even if they have this nature of chanting offensively, by being in that association, gradually, over time, as Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada said in his Upadeshavali, gradually these mundane thoughts will disappear. Now this is also in pursuance of, or in the association of, any pure Vaishnava. By being in their association, what does Bhaktivinoda Thakur say? Chai vega domi, chai dosha shodhi, chai guna deho dase, chai satsangar, deho he amare, boshechi sangera ashe. Why am I sitting here? Why am I in your association? All of these urges, material urges. Chai veg, this is the first verse of Shikshashtakam. This the urges of the tongue, vacho, to want to speak all kinds of nonsense, the urges of the mind, the urges of anger, the urges of wanting to taste everything for my enjoyment, to fill my belly and my sexual urges. This, in the association of Vaishnavas, if we're following properly, should be rendered gradually insignificant. Chai dosha shodhi, atyahara prayashascha prajalpo niyamagraha janasangaschalolyam cha shadbir bhaktir vinashyati. These 6 faults: over consuming, over endeavoring for material things, speaking all kinds of nonsense, over adherence or under adherence to the rules and regulations of scriptures, both, either over adherence or under adherence, associating with worldly minded persons, and greed for material achievements. And then he asks for the positive. Chai gun dehodase, utsaha nishchaya dharya tat karma vartanat sangatyagat satovrite shadbir bhaktir prasidyati. What are favorable things for bhakti? Enthusiasm, patience, determination, unbroken nishtha. Tat karma pravartanat, doing those activities which will awaken in our lives attraction for loving service of Krishna. Sangatyagat, avoiding unfavorable association, rejecting that. And satovrite, following in the footsteps, the path of the sadhus. These 6 things are favorable for bhakti. Chai shat sangha, deho he amare. Please give this unto me. What is the chai sat sangha? The 6 kinds of loving exchange by which affection and attachment forms in that relationship with devotees, especially the pure devotees. Dadati pratignati guhyamakyati prichiti bhunkte bhojayate chaiva shadvidham priti lakshanam. Priti lakshana means the intrinsic symptoms of affection, love and affection. Priti. What is that? Dadati pratigrinnati. But this should be engaged in with someone who is more advanced than ourselves, so that we can progress by their mercy. Giving and receiving. Guhyamakyati prichati, revealing one's mind in confidence and receiving instructions from them, relating them. What that is called relevant inquiry, pariprashna. I have this doubt, I'm not sure, I want to progress and I feel like something is blocking me. I was told that this might be the thing, but can you please help me? I'm confused. And then they will give you relevant instructions to help you move forward. And bhunkte bhojayate chaiva. Bhunkte means offering prasadam to that Vaishnava. And bhojayate means receiving their remnants. Cha eva, and so forth, means all of the symptoms of loving affection. Boshechi sangira ashe. I'm in your association hoping to receive these things, to have my anarthas removed, and to have all of those things that are favorable for propelling me on the path of devotion to Krishna. Favorable things for bhakti. Again, it's the 3rd verse of Upadeshamrita by Srila Rupa Goswami, otherwise known as Nectar of Instruction. Utsaha nishchayat dharyat tat karma pravartanat sangatyagat satovrite. Utsaha means enthusiasm. Nishchaya means firm determination, unbreaking determination. Nishtha. Dharyat means patience. Okay, I didn't attain perfection today, but Krishna has been waiting for me since forever. So the fact that he didn't manifest before me today, this will not dissuade me, it will not depress me or deject me. I will continue. I will continue with determination and patience. Patience. Tat karma pravartanat means those activities. Tat karma means those activities. Pravartanat, what are favorable for impelling us or moving us forward on the path of devotion. Sangatyagat. Now these are the 6 things that are favorable for bhakti, but interestingly they're giving us a negative. What is favorable for bhakti? To reject unfavorable association. The association of worldly minded persons, those who are lusty, those who are atheists, those who are antagonistic to bhakti, those who are really severe aparadhis, and associating with those who are attached to lusty persons and lusty persons. This is called Sangat Tyagat. Giving up, avoiding that association. And Sato Vritte. Vritte means the path, and Sata means of the sadhus, following in their footsteps. Mahajano yena gata sapantha. Following the path of the sadhus. Shadbhir, these 6. Bhaktir, for bhakti. Prasiddhyati, will bring us perfection on the path of devotion. Okay. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada and Rupa Goswami have given us assurances that if we are maintaining the association of Vaishnavas and we continue to chant, even though at this point our chanting might be offensive chanting by its nature because we're not paying attention, maybe we're not properly following the order of Guru Dev, and we have so many anarthas. This is understood and it is expected at the beginning levels. So Rupa Goswami gives us the assurance in Sri Upadeshamrita, Nectar of Instruction, in verse 7. Syat Krishna Nama Charitari Sitapya Vidya Pito Patapta Rasanasya Narochikanu Kintvādarād Anudinam Khalu Shaiva Jushta Svad Vikramad Bhavati Tad Gada Mulahantri. Just like someone who has jaundice, they're really sick. Your liver is in a mess and even your body turns yellow in response to that. So when someone has jaundice, it is said, according to this, that the cure is sugar candy. Or at least it is the test to see how one is progressing or not. If one has jaundice and they take sugar candy, rock sugar candy, which is considered the purest form of sugar, that sugar candy will taste bitter. And you would want to throw it away. Trust me, I had Sudevi and throw away like containers of biscuits because I was like, this tastes horrible, it's bitter. We were in a yellow room with yellow light and I was yellow, so we couldn't really tell that I was yellow until Baijanti Mala came to the door, knocked on the door, and I opened it and she saw me and she said, oh my God, you are yellow. We didn't know. So it was bitter. It didn't taste good at all and I would throw it away. But if we have faith in the words of Sri Guru, and we continue to chant despite that bitter taste. It may be bitter in the beginning, but if we have faith, what is that bitterness? Really, that bitterness is we have only ever known what it is like to seek our own enjoyment. To put that down and instead give everything for the enjoyment of Krishna, even if it means that I have to suffer. That's the exact opposite, and we do not yet have taste in that idea. That is why Srila Bhaktivedanta Tiruvika Maharaj said, why do we not like to love Krishna? Because it doesn't bring me enjoyment necessarily in the beginning. And I've only ever known my own enjoyment seeking. So as we are taking that sugar candy in the beginning, it might be a little bitter. But gradually, by the mercy of Nam and by the association of Vaishnavas, this bitter effect, the jaundiced effect, will start to move as long as we continue to take that sugar candy, the treatment. And as one continues to take the treatment, gradually the bitter effect leaves. And as the bitter effect is leaving, we will start to taste more and more sweetness, just a little bit at a time. When the result of our COVID disease, we had lost our smell and sense of taste. And I lost it for about 10 days. Sudevi lost it for almost a month. And I remember that day when she was like, oh my God, I could smell the incense a little bit. Still, her sense was very muted, but something was starting to come. And even just now, she's like, for the first time, I could taste the basil. Yes, we were able to get basil in Vrindavan, and asparagus, by the way. So she said, for the first time, I could taste the basil, basilicum, for the first time. So gradually, as this disease is disappearing, the flavors are returning. In that same way, gradually as our disease of material conditioning is disappearing due to the strength of and the mercy of Nam and the pure devotees of Sri Nam, and we will start to be able to taste the sweetness more and more and more and more. And once you have actually tasted that sweetness, there is nothing else that will compare. In other words, nothing else will attract us whatsoever. It would be quite disgusting for us, and we would avoid it if we have truly tasted the sweetness of Krishna Nam. Srila Rupa Goswami Pad ki jai, Srila Gurudev ki jai. You know, Upadeshamrita is only 11 verses, but Rupa Goswami takes us from our foundation of Vacho Vegam. This is really who we should surrender to. Who can control all of those urges? They're qualified to be Guru. From there, Ado Guru Padashray, then the instructions of Guru and what we hope to attain in the association of Guru. All negative things, anartha nivritti, out. All positive things, this is what is favorable for bhajan. What is it? Ado shraddha tata sadhu sangha tab bhajana kriya tato anartha nivritti syat. So all anarthas are removed by the potency of following the instructions of Sri Guru and engaging in the process of bhakti or bhajan. Bhajan means all of the different processes of bhakti which move us forward in our thirst for Krishna Bhakti Ras. The thirst for Krishna Bhakti Ras means the increasing desire to please Krishna for His happiness, pleasure and benefit. That is really Krishna Trishna. And as an automatic side effect, of course, Bhakti Pareshanubhava Viraktir, one will feel increasing transcendental bliss, but this is not the reason for any devotee to serve the Lord. It can be a disturbance to that devotee, but they don't do it for that effect. They only serve the Lord because, as Prahlad said, it is my nature. It is my nature as your servant to always serve you, to love you. And if difficulty comes to me as a result of that, then let it come. And if happiness comes as a result of that, then let it come, as long as it doesn't disrupt my service to you. Again and again we see this within all of our examples in Shastra. If that ecstasy which comes as a result of seva hinders one's seva, they curse that ecstasy. Damn this ecstasy which has stopped me from serving. The gopis are cursing Lord Brahma, you foolish creator. Do you not have any intelligence? You're supposed to be smart. What happened? And they're saying, if you were really intelligent, you would have made it that we have thousands of eyes so that we can drink the beauty of Krishna with all of these eyes constantly. And you also gave us tears and made us blink. Don't you know that one moment of separation from Krishna feels like millions of yugas, and you make us blink so many times a minute? And then you put tears on top of that, so everything we can't see anyway. What kind of foolish creator are you? Apparently you have never had this experience. So they're also cursing at him because these things are hindering their service. They serve Krishna with their sidelong glances. That is how they serve Krishna. Of course, in so many other ways, but Gurudev actually said those words, that they worship Krishna with their eyes. So Rupa Goswami has given us from the beginning of our spiritual life right into the last 3-4 verses. Verse 9 is directly bringing us through all of the concentric layers. You can call it superimposed. If you have so many different layers like this, you have Vaikuntha. Then see it as a ring, and then if you go deep in there, then you have Mathurapuri. Then you go deeper in there, Vrindavan. Then you go deeper than that, Govardhan. And then the deepest part of Govardhan, this is Radha Kunda. Vaikuntaj janito vara madhupuri tatrapi rasotsavat brindaranya mudarapani ramana tatrapi govardhana radha kundam ihapi gokulapate premamrita plavanad. Where there is an overwhelming deluge, tsunami of prem, where prem is controlling everything. And there, that is the most condensed transcendental ecstasy. Radha Kund. And then the next verse after that, verse 10 and verse 11, also are just glorifying Radha Kund. And show me that intelligent person. Kuryad asya virajato giritate sevam vivekinaka. Show me that intelligent person who would not want to reside at Radha Kund, at the foothill of Giriraj. Always remembering the transcendental pastimes of Radha and Krishna. So Rupa Goswami brings us very quickly through 11 verses to that perfection. And then in Sri Manashiksha you see the ekantic or one-pointed moods of Raghunath Das Goswami. How Raghunath Das Goswami is really condensing all of the teachings of our Guru Varga into this Sri Manashiksha, teaching us how to become exclusive, one-pointed, to withdraw our senses from all other distractions, even other aspects of Godhead. Even Narayan in Vaikuntha, or anything which does not bring him or support this ekantic bhav to Srimati Radhika. Even not the second person who loves Krishna more than anyone after Srimati Radhika, that is Chandravali. Raghunath Das Goswami is famous for chasing that devotee away with a stick who came to him with a bowl of chach, that is buttermilk, from Sakhi's thali. His mood of exclusivity to the lotus feet of Srimati Radhika is so fixed, so strong, that even that he's chasing away. And he is our Prayojan Acharya. He is the person who's teaching by their own example how we must become if we want to attain that goal. Prayojan means the topmost attainment or our goal. And so that is Raghunath Das Goswami. Did I say, are you dumb? Huh? No, I didn't say that. Okay. I think that's a paraphrase. Daruka, when he was fanning Krishna with the chamara, he was seeing that every hair in that chamara was his own life's breath, and he was offering that to the feet of Krishna. And when he saw Krishna's dhoti moving in reciprocation to his offering his own pran, all of his life airs at the lotus feet of Krishna, the ecstasy which manifested as a result of that completely consumed him, and he fell unconscious. Therefore his seva had stopped. When he woke up from that unconscious state, he was cursing the ecstasy which stopped him from his seva. Damn that ecstasy which has stopped my seva. So Vaishnava is not interested in the results which come from serving the Lord. Whatever comes, will come. But this is not their concern. Krishna is always trying to please the devotees. That's his nature also. But their only concern is how to please him. Even if I have to suffer, still, let me serve him. Let me please him. We saw this, well, I saw it when Sudevi was speaking. Sudevi was speaking in such a vivid way. I was seeing it like I was there watching this. When Lakshman told her that Ram has asked me to leave you here, because so many are criticizing. And although this was the most painful thing for her, that she immediately fainted, she fell unconscious, and she was weeping, still she said, I don't want any difficulty to come to my Prabhu Ram. If by being in this situation, even if I have to suffer and bear this burden of separation from him, if it is for his happiness and his pleasure, then let it be. If it is beneficial for him, then I accept it. And one day we will all have to develop this kind of mood of exclusivity. It's not about me. It's about them. It's about Krishna. It's about Srimati Radhika. And this will be the proof of one's devotion and bhakti, even way beyond nishtha, firm conviction. As Mahaprabhu says, Ashlishyava paradatam pinashtamam adarshanan mama hatam karotubha yata tatava vridhatu lampato mat prananatastu sayemanaparaha. In the mood of Srimati Radhika, he's revealing something deep of her moods, which she might not say directly to Krishna, very rarely. But in this form, experiencing that mood, Krishna is tasting it and he's revealing it. What is that mood? You can do whatever you like with me. If you want, you can embrace me. Or you can embrace another in front of me. Or you can kick me away. You can break my heart. It does not change the nature of my love for you. No matter what, my love for you will not decrease. You are always my prananath, and there is no condition for it whatsoever. So this is teaching also ekantik bhakti. It's not about the pleasure I receive. If that is my intention, then that is not pure bhakti, that is karma mishra bhakti. I am doing bhakti to receive the pleasure that comes as a result of doing bhakti. It's not pure. If I'm doing it exclusively for Krishna, this is anushilanam, for his happiness, pleasure, benefit, then that can be called bhaktir uttama, or pure bhakti. Is Sita's mood not like Chandravali's mood? Uma, Rama, Satya, Shachi, Chandra, Rukmini, Radha, Avatar, Sabe, Amnayavani. All of those moods are present within Srimati Radhika. According to all revealed scriptures, all Shaktis are a manifestation from the original or complete or Purna Shakti. Radha Purna Shakti, Krishna Purna Shaktiman. She is the complete Shakti. And from her all other Shaktis manifest. Chandravali is also her Shakti, the manifestation of her subservient mood. In other words, she has it in the maximum amount within herself. But for Krishna's happiness, pleasure, and benefit, she doesn't show it like Chandravali does. She is showing the other side. Lalita Madhava Bame Vrishabhanu Kanya. Leftist mood, Vrishabhanu Kanya. So Srimati Radhika has this mood which seems contrary, but this is her nature, which increases Krishna's transcendental eagerness even more. And her party, they're looking like Chandravali's party doesn't understand how to please Krishna. And Chandravali's party is looking at her party thinking, they don't know how to please Krishna. Why are they always causing him so much difficulty? They should just serve him. That's bhakti. And they're looking like, you don't know how to increase his transcendental pleasure. And it is all for Krishna's pleasure. So even though it looks like it's not harmonious because Krishna is the only center, it is completely harmonious. She is that manifestation. And Sita is also non-different manifestation. So Chandravali in Dwarka is a manifestation, Rukmini in Dwarka is the manifestation of Chandravali, whose origin is Srimati Radhika. And Satyabhama in Dwarka is the manifestation of Srimati Radhika. Well, she's also the origin there. Rukmini, when Krishna was teasing her, what happened? He said, "Oh, you're so beautiful, you're so qualified. Look at me. There's so many beautiful, powerful princes, very wealthy and everything. You're free, you can go pick who you want." Just hearing this, she could not tolerate it. And she fell down exactly like a banana tree, knocked over by a hurricane. Like this, completely fainted. And then Krishna felt bad and he picked her up and put her head in his lap. He was trying to pacify her. "It's okay, I was just making a joke." When Krishna handed that parijata flower to Rukmini in front of Narada Muni and all of the other queens, 16,108, because Narad said, "Give it to your favorite queen." Krishna was like, "Oh my God, you have 16,108 all assembled in one hall?" And he's told every single one of them, "You're my favorite." Now what to do? Narada Muni just got him in a little bit of a jam. So what did he do? That's not good. The temperature outside today was a nice, warm 106. So maybe a lot of ACs are going. So, of course, Krishna then had to follow the path of Dharma at that point. The path of Dharma says the easiest thing in that case would be to give it to your primary queen or the first queen. That was Rukmini. And by doing so, then he's kind of showing proper etiquette. So he hands it to Rukmini. Who became upset? The manifestation of Srimati Radhika and Dwarka, that is Satyabhama. She left that assembly, went to her Krodh Bhavan, that is the anger room, where the queens actually had an anger room. She took off all of her bangles, all of her jewelry, all of her nice refinements. The queens would put on white cloth and they would just pout until their husband, the king, would come and pacify them. So this parijata flower was from the heavenly planets. And there Satyabhama is just completely like this. So how did Krishna pacify her? He was trying in so many ways, but she wouldn't have it. Krishna took her on the back of Garuda, brought her to the heavenly planets, fought with the denizens of the heavenly planets, all of their warriors and everything, uprooted an entire parijata tree and transplanted it in Satyabhama's yard in Dwarka. So this is what happens through that process. Through Man, of course, Krishna also, because she's his wife, he can be a little stronger, but with Srimati Radhika, she's not his wife. So he really has to take that subservient role to gain her approval. But in this case, it's showing. Rukmini, she has this mood, I am his. Chandravali has this mood about Krishna, I am his. But Radhika and her group, they have this mood that he is mine. So Madhya Bhav versus Tadya Bhav. He is mine. And so with that possessive mood, it controls him more and more and more. Therefore, that's why Krishna himself says, Radhikara Prema Guru Ami Shishyanata. She is my Guru of Prem and I dance according to her tune. Because she knows the art of how to increase his transcendental ecstasy, pleasure, happiness, and longing. Yes, I said Krodh Bhavan. Coop. Doesn't that mean well? Okay, so now, time has come late. Thank you for all of your questions. There's so much in there, and our Srila Gurudev and our Acharyas have discussed all of these subjects in great, great detail. And really, these should be heard from any Rasik Bhavuk, transcendental personality who is seeing them. in detail, to hear from those persons, it will increase our desire to want to serve like that. To want to serve like they are serving. To want to please Krishna like they are pleasing Krishna. So I'm thinking, what will we call out for Rupa Goswami, Nityananda Prabhu, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu all at the same time? I think maybe Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Doya Koromore. Page 96 in our Shri Gaudiya Giti Gucha. Is Jiva Pavana Prabhu there? Yes, everyone's names are there. And we can also include the other two prayers that come at the end. Doyakoro Prabhupada Shri Dayatidas and Doyakoro Gurudeva Patita Pavan. So Jiva Pavana Prabhu posts the bhajans in the comment section of the thread, along with their translations and commentaries from our Acharya. And this bhajan, this prayer for mercy, is by Srila Narottam Das Thakur. And the other verses, one was made for Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Prabhupada, and the other one is made for Shri Gurudev, whoever anyone's Shri Gurudev is. So those were added on afterward, but there is no harm. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Doya Koro More Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Doya Koro More Toma Bina Te Doyaru Jagata Sansare Toma Bina Te Doyaru Jagata Sansare Patita Pavano Hetu Tavayavo Tharo Patita Pavano Hetu Tavayavo Tharo Mosamma Patita Prabhu Na Paibe Aro Mosamma Patita Prabhu Na Paibe Aro Ha ha Prabhu Nityananda Premananda Sukhi নিত্যানন্দ প্রেমানন্দ সুখী কৃপাবলোকন করো আমি বড় দুঃখী কৃপাবলোকন করো আমি বড় দুঃখী দয়া করো সীতাপতি অদ্বৈত গোসাই দয়া করো সীতাপতি অদ্বৈত গোসাই তব কৃপা বলে পাই চৈতন্য নিতাই বলে পাই চৈতন্য নিতাই হাহা স্বরূপ সনাতন রূপ রঘুনাথ হাহা স্বরূপ সনাতন রূপ রঘুনাথ হতযুগ শ্রীজীব প্রভু লোকনাথ ভক্ত যুগ শ্রীজীব প্রভু লোকনাথ দয়া করো শ্রী আচার্য প্রভু শ্রীনিবাস দয়া করো শ্রী আচার্য প্রভু শ্রীনিবাস রামচন্দ্র সঙ্গ মাগে নরোত্তম দাস রামচন্দ্র সঙ্গ মাগে নরোত্তম দাস দয়া করো প্রভু পাদ শ্রীদয়িত দাস দয়া করো প্রভু পাদ শ্রীদয়িত দাস বৈষ্ণবেরো কৃপা মাগে অধম দাস বৈষ্ণবেরো কৃপা মাগে অধম দাস দয়া করো গুরুদেব পতিত পাবন দয়া করো গুরুদেব পতিত পাবন শ্রীচরণে সেবা মাগে এ পতিত জন শ্রীচরণে সেবা মাগে এ পতিত জন শ্রীকৃষ্ণ চৈতন্য প্রভু দয়া করো মোরে শ্রীকৃষ্ণ চৈতন্য প্রভু দয়া করো মোরে তোমা বিনা কে দয়ালু জগত সংসারে তোমা বিনা ke doyalu jagat sansare toma bina ke doyalu jagat sansare Shachinandan Jaya Gaura Hari Shachinandan Jai Gaura Hari Jaya Shachinandan Jai Gaura Hari Shachinandan Jaya Gaura Hari Nitai He Gaura He Nitai He Gaura He Nitai He Gaura He Nitai He Gaura He Jaya Rupa Sanatan 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 Rupa Sanatan Jaya Rupa Sanatan Shri Gurudeva ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada ki jai, Rupanuga Gauriya Guru Varga ki jai, Shri Shad Goswami Prabhu ki jai, Shri Nityananda Prabhu ki jai, Shri Shachinandana Gaura Hari ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Go. We have already had a request for a Krishna bhajan today. Svangridasya dostu me saballavendra nandana Shri Krishna Chandrashtakam by Srila Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami. It's quite big, so we are going to sing it all together and a little bit slowly. I will try to keep it slow. Page 282. Question: isn't it when Radharani wears white shringar, it's because... One second. I'm just looking here. It's because it's a full moon to blend in the moonlight. Can you speak about this because of her new shringar? Wait a minute, 1 second. I'm just turning down the tom. Come here, Sudevi.
No, it's just I didn't like her the best.
So, because it was Narasimha Chaturdashi and Sudevi was inspired to put a fiery color on Thakurji at that time, so she had put the orangish, reddish outfits, and of course, this beautiful little boy here had that amazing wild mane, flower mane. But we just celebrated Purnima. That was just yesterday, day before, so it's still close to that time. The moon is still looking pretty full. And I can only share a very little bit, and the rest of it you will have to receive from someone who is a real seer of that truth. But when it's a full moon night, it is said that Srimati Radhika does wear white. It's so that she can't be detected. As she's running through the forests, she appears to be like the moon's reflection upon the water when she's wearing white. So you cannot see, you cannot detect what it is. It just looks like the streak of moonlight moving through the forest or on the water. So that's as much as I'm going to say on that particular subject matter. Except for one thing. They do train her and teach her how to move in such a way that she can be undetected. So in terms of the sound of her ankle bells and other things like that, so many tests she undergoes in her desperation to meet with Krishna, all assisted by her Sakhis and her maidservants. So that's as much as I will say there. So now we're going to sing Shri Krishna Chandrashtakam. Shri Krishna Kanhai Lal Ki Jai. So whoever sings this Ashtakam prays to Shri Krishna, who is the love of Radhika's heart and whose darshan is not possible even for the celestial goddesses, headed by Lakshmi. Thus, it's moving. Where is it? Thus he will please not only him, but also Radhika and her companions, and Krishna will engage such a devotee in service to his lotus feet in Sri Vrindavan. What a beautiful blessing. Ambudanjanendra Nila Nindikanti Dambara Kunkumodhyad Arakavidyud Angsho Divyad Ambara Shrimad Anga Charchitendu Pitanakta Chandana Swangridasya Dostu Mesa Balavendra Nandana Nanda Tandavati Pande Tanda Jesha Kundalas Chandra Padma Shanda Garva Khandanasya Mandala Vallavishu Vardhitatma Gudha Bhava Bandhana Swangridasya Dostu Mesa Ballavendra Nandana Nityanavya Rupavesha Hardakeli Cheshtita Heli Narma Sharmadayi Mitra Vrinda Veshtita Sriya Keli Kananangshu Nirjitendra Nandana Swangridasya Dostu Mesa Balavendra Nandana Prema Hema Manditatma Bandhutabhinandita Shoni Lagna Bhalaloka Palapani Bandita Nitya Kala Shrishta Vitra Gauravali Vandana Swangridasya Dostu Mesa Ballavendra Nandana Leelayendra Kaliyoshna Kamsavatsa Ghatakas Tad Atma Keli Vrishti Pushta Bhakta Chataka Virya Shila Leelayatma Ghoshvasi Nandana Swangridasya Dostu Mesa Ballavendra Nandana Kunjarasa Keli Siddhu Radhika Ditoshanas Tattadatma Keli Narma Tattadani Poshana Prema Shila Keli Kirti Vishwa Swangridasya dostu me sa Ballavendra Nandana Rasa Keli Darshitatma Shuddha Bhakti Satpata Sviya Chitra Rupa Vesha Manmathali Manmatha Gopikasu Netra Kono Bhava Vrinda Gandhano Swangridasya dostu me sa Ballavendra Nandana Pushpachayi Radhika Bhimarshalabhikarshita Prema Vamya Ramya Radhikasya Dhiti Harshita Radhikora Sihalepa Esha Hari Chandana Swangridasya dostu me sa Ballavendra Nandana Ashtakeno yastvanena Radhika suballabham Sangstabiti darshanepi Sindhu jadi durlabham Tang yunakti tuštachita Esha ghosha kanone Radhikango Sangananditatma pada sevane Swangridasya dostu me sa Ballavendra Nandana Swangridasya dostu me sa Ballavendra Nandana. Jaya Nanda Nanda Jaya Yashoda Nanda 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 Jaya Yashoda Nanda Jaya Nanda Nanda Jaya Yashoda Nanda 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 Jaya Yashoda Nanda Krishna He 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 Shri Krishna Kanhaiya Lal Ki Jai. And time is flying, so we are going to call out to Srimati Radhika within the Hare Krishna Mahamantra and also within the bhajan which we are going to lead into Mahamantra with. Hare Krishna Mahamantra is no ordinary sound vibration. That's why we should be careful when we're chanting it, as we've already previously discussed. Our Gurudev would tell us again and again that when doing any activity in bhakti, while circumambulating Govardhan, while chanting Harinam, we should have no other desire, no other attention or intention other than what is our goal. When chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, which Srila Gaura Govinda Maharaj said is the sound of the jiva crying to the Supreme Lord, to Krishna for mercy, it has a very specific kind of crying out. And that is the prayer from the core of one's soul. O Radha, O Krishna, please engage me in your loving service. I am yours, make me yours, make me yours. So we will call out in the beautiful prayer by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Jai Radha Madhava, Kunj Bihari, and then flow that into the culmination of that which is Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Not only praying for ourselves and our own benefit to be able to love and serve Krishna, But those who are developing the humility of a Vaishnava, who are followers of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sri Sachinandan Gaurahari, and our Rupanuga Guru Varga, they will also have all compassion for all jivas of this world. Those who are devotees and who don't know, and those who are not devotees and don't know, whether they're in a human form or any other form. Compassion for the jivas is part of the nature of Vaishnavas. Para dukkha dukhi. The Vaishnava feels suffering, seeing our suffering, and wants to give us that best thing. The best thing is prem for Sri Harinam. Jaya Radha Madhava Jai Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jai Kunja Bihari. Page 158. Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Janna Vallabha Jai Girivaradhari Jai Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Janna Vallabha Jai Jaya Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Jamuna Tiravana Chari Jaya Kunja Bihari Yamuna Tiravana Chari Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari O Gopi Janna Vallabha Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Janna Vallabha Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tiravana চারি জয় কুঞ্জ বিহারী জয় যমুনা তীরবন ছারি জয় কুঞ্জ বিহারী ও জয় যমুনা তীরবন ছারি জয় কুঞ্জ বিহারী জয় যমুনা তীরবন ছারি জয় কুঞ্জ বিহারী হরে কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে 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 রাম 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 হরে 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 কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে 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 রাম 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 হরে 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 কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে 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 রাম 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 হরে 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 কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে 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 রাম 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 হরে 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 কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে 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 রাম 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 হরে 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 কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে 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 রাম 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 হরে 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 কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে 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 রাম 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 হরে 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 কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে 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 রাম 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 হরে 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 কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে 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 রাম 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 হরে 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 কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে 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 রাম রাম Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Oh Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Oh Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Bolo Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 हरे राम 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 हरे हरे गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल गौर हरि बोल गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल जय गुरुदेव 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 जय गुरुदेव जय गुरुदेव 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 जय गुरुदेव जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय प्रभुपाद श्री श्रीनिताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल श्री गुरुदेव की जय श्री प्रभुपाद की जय रूपानुग गौरी गुरुवर्ग की जय पतित पावन श्री नित्यानंद प्रभु की जय प्रेम पुरुषोत्तम शचिनंदन गौर हरि की जय राधा विनोद बिहारी जू की जय हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र की जय गौर भक्त वृंद की जय निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि गुरवे गौरचंद्राय राधिकाय तदालये कृष्णाय कृष्णभक्ताय तद्भक्ताय नमो नमः अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः नमो ॐ विष्णुपदाय राधिकाय प्रियात्मने श्रीश्रीमार्भक्तिवेदान्तनारायणेति नामिने नमो ॐ विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने वञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे मुखं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणम्. First of all, I offer my Dandavat Pranam thousands of times in the dust of the lotus feet of our beloved Gurudev, Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Vishnupad, Ashtotara Shata Shri Srimad, Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. And the same thousands of Dandavat Pranam in the dust of the lotus feet of Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Vishnupad, Ashtotara Shata Shri Srimad, Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada, and to all of our Rupanuga, Gauriya, Guru Varga. And to all Vaishnavas, past, present, and future, including all of you who are present with us today, we offer our Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam, dear Vaishnavas. Radhe Radhe, Radhe Shyam.
Radhe Shyam. So now we're continuing with Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat. And before entering into this transcendental literature, we will pray in the words of Sri Sachinandan Gaurahari, glorifying Sri Harinam Sankirtan. Please repeat after me. Cheto Darpanamarjanam
Cheto Darpanamarjanam
Bhava Mahadavagni
Bhava Mahadavagni
Nirvapanam
Nirvapanam
Shreya Kairava Chandrika
Shreya Kairava Chandrika
Vitaranam
Taranam
Vidyavadhu Jivanam
Vidyavadhu Vidyavadhujivanam
Anandam Buddhi
Anandam Buddhi
Vardhanam
Vardhanam
Pratipadam
Pratipadam
Purnamritashvadanam
Purnamrita Swadanam
Sarvatma Snapanam
Sarvatma Snapanam
Param Vijayate. Chalo.
Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam
Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. Shri Shikshashtakam ki jai. Shri Shachinandan Gaura Hari ki jai. And before continuing with Shri Chaitanya Bhagavat by Vrindavan Das Thakur in the commentary of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada, we will chant the first verse of Shri Chaitanya Bhagavat by Shri Vrindavan Das Thakur. Please repeat after me. Ajanu
Ajanu
Lambita
Lambita
Bhujo
Bhujo
Kanakavadato
Kanakavadato
Sankirtanaika
Sankirtanaika
Pitaro
Pitaro
Kamalaya-taksho
Kamalaya-taksho
Vishvambharo
Vishvambharo
Dvijavaro
Vijavaro
Yugadharmapalo
Yugadharmapalo
Bande Jagat
Vande Jagat
Priyakaro
Priyakaro
Karunavataro.
Karunavataro Tweet, tweet, tweet.
Shri Shachinandana Gaura Hari ki jai.
Jai.
Patit Pavana Shri Nityananda Prabhu ki jai. You think you can almost do that one by heart?
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
that.
So Devi's got it.
Don't test me.
It all ends in Svabhakti Shriyam. So, before entering into the body of this transcendental literature, we will pray in the foot dust of Sri Vrindavan Das Thakur, the author, and Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, the commentator, that may even a particle of their moods that are present within these pages manifest itself within our hearts. Sri Vrindavan Das Thakur ki jai. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada ki jai. Today, Vrindavan Vilasini Didi asked me, "Are you still in the first chapter?" And I said, "Yes." She said, "That's the most difficult because there's a lot of tattva and siddhanta and like that." And she said, "After that, it's just..." So, the first chapter actually goes for quite a long time. Wow. Chapter 1 continues. Let's see. Okay. So we're on page 34, and it continues to page 126. So apparently we are going to be able to spend a lot of time together studying Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat. Jai. So Rudra Prabhu, what verse are we continuing with? I believe it's text 18, yes. Because yesterday, what did we finish with? Lord Krishna will never give up one who has been touched by the air that has touched the body of Nityananda. Patit Pavana Shri Nityananda Prabhu ki jai. So now we're starting on text 18, the beginning of page 34. Tahara charitra jeva jane shune gai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Tare Paramasahai. Shri Krishna Chaitanya is most satisfied with one who chants or hears the characteristics of Lord Nityananda. I believe Jiva Pavana Prabhu or someone, let's see, posted about devotee. Jiva Pavana Prabhu posted from our Srila Prabhupada, "It is easier to get the mercy of a devotee than to get the mercy of the Lord. So therefore, the most intelligent way of approaching God is to take shelter of a pure devotee. Somehow or other, if one can please a pure devotee of the Lord, such action means immediate satisfaction of the Lord, even though such a person is not officially qualified to receive the mercy of the Lord." So this is our shortcut to perfection. By pleasing and serving the pure devotee of the Lord is automatically pleased. If one tries to please him directly, they might not even have the qualification to make that endeavor. But somehow, the mercy form of the Lord or the pure devotee manifests before us, and gives us the opportunity to render seva. And they are very easily pleased by their nature. They don't also accept offense very readily. And therefore, by that medium, one can rapidly and massively acquire so much bhakti sukriti, by which the Lord will also be pleased. If the pure devotee is pleased, then the Lord is pleased. Today I read somewhere, well, that's a shortcut to a parent's heart, isn't it? If anyone is very kind and affectionate toward their child, immediately the parent's heart is melted. So that person who is pleasing the pure devotee of the Lord, immediately Krishna is feeling that pleasure. Marcus, one who has been touched by the air that has touched the body of Nityananda. The breeze which blows past him and which touches his body and then comes past and touches our body, in a sense, Krishna will not ever give such a person up. So Lord Chaitanya is most satisfied with one who chants or hears the characteristics of Lord Nityananda. So this is our shortcut. This is what pleases Lord Chaitanya, is by glorifying Sri Nityananda Prabhu. So by even participating in this conversation, hearing the glorifications of Sri Nityananda Prabhu by Vrindavan Das Thakur, this is also pleasing to Sri Sachinandan Gaurahari or Lord Chaitanya. Purport by Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada. The glories of those who chant or hear the qualities of Sankarshan or Sri Nityananda Ram are mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam 5:17, 18 and 19. In Srimad Bhagavatam 5:25, 8, it is stated, if persons who are very serious about being liberated from material life hear the glories of Anantadev from the mouth of a spiritual master in the chain of disciplic succession, and if they always meditate upon Sankarshan, the Lord enters the cores of their hearts, vanquishes all the dirty contamination of the material modes of nature, and cuts to pieces the hard knot within the heart, which has been tied tightly since time immemorial by the desire to dominate material nature through fruitive activities. Narada Muni, the son of Lord Brahma, always glorifies Anantadev in his father's assembly. There he sings blissful verses of his own composition, accompanied by his stringed instrument, or a celestial singer, known as Tumburu. Srimad Bhagavatam 5:25-11, which is quoted as text 55 of this chapter, should also be seen. In the Srimad Bhagavatam 6:16, 34 and 44, Chitraketu prays to Lord Sankarshan as follows: O unconquerable Lord, although you cannot be conquered by anyone, does anyone know the Sanskrit name for the Lord who is unconquerable by anyone? Whoever can get that right? So Devi, what do they get? Because right now all I can think of is, Ah, yes, now it is lychee or lychee season here in India, in Vrindavan. So many, those moving stalls, they're selling lychees. So you get 250 grams of fresh, beautiful, juicy lychees. Ajita was otherwise unconquerable. Sthane stita shrutigatan tanuvan manovir ipyayaso jita jitais pyasitais trilokyam. That person who surrenders unto the Lord, in whatever situation they're in, always utilizing their mind, their body, their words, and everything in serving the Lord, for that person they can conquer him. That Supreme Personality who is otherwise unconquerable. Oh, sorry, Anjali. 250 grams is approximately half a pound. There you go. So I did quote that quote Jiva Pavana who just posted the other day, and here's some confirmation. Thank you for posting the confirmation. So, O unconquerable Lord, although you cannot be conquered by anyone, you are certainly conquered by devotees who have control of the mind and senses. They can keep you under their control because you are causelessly merciful to devotees who desire no material profit from you. So those devotees who are desiring some material profit, this is called karma mishra bhakti. It is not pure bhakti. Pure bhakti is devoid of any desire for material profit. That is the term karma anavritam. In the verse defining pure bhakti, anya abhilash ita shunyam. It is devoid of any other desire. It is devoid of jnana and karma. What kind of jnana? The knowledge which is aimed at impersonal liberation. And karma means any fruitive reward-seeking activity. In other words, putting an apple in front of Krishna and saying, Om Jai Jagadisha Hari, give me a palace by the sea. This kind of thing. Let me win the lottery. We're putting something there. It's in the name of bhakti. We have some devotion and we have faith and we're praying for some material thing in response. This is called karma mishra bhakti. It is mixed with karma. Although it is externally the activity of bhakti, it cannot be considered pure bhakti. When Sri Narasimhadev Bhagavan offered Prahlad some fruitive reward for his seva, Prahlad actually told Sri Narasimhadev Bhagavan that I am not a merchant, I am not a businessman. My nature as your servant is to serve you. It is not befitting of the servant to take extra special benefits and rewards from the master, and it is also not fitting of the master to give extra special benefits to the servant. This is my nature and that is your nature, but I am not a merchant, I am not a businessman. So here, my Lord, it is not impossible for one to be immediately freed from all material contamination by seeing you. Oh, sorry, I missed a sentence. So you are causelessly merciful to devotees who desire no profit from you. Indeed, you give yourself to them, and because of this, you also have full control over your devotees. My Lord, it is not impossible for one to be immediately freed from all material contamination by seeing you. Not to speak of seeing you personally, merely by hearing the holy name of your Lordship, only once, even chandalas. It says men of the lowest class. What is a chandala? Does anyone know what a chandala is? Even chandalas are freed from all material contamination. Under the circumstances, who will not be freed from material contamination simply by seeing you? Those who eat dogs. So, now in Western countries, which they call first world countries, dogs have become God. They have become the masters of the house. It used to be the other way around. There used to be a hierarchy which went something like this: the man, then his wife, then the elder children, and it trickled down, and then the animals. Now it's animals on the top, and then the children, then the wife, and then the husband. So it's completely reversed. Many years ago, I don't know where it was, but there was this documentary that came up, And it was showing how people are so attached to their animals that they would cook special meals for their animals and just have their children microwave some frozen dinner. But they would actually cook meals for their dogs. So in the West, the idea of eating a dog, which is man's best friend, is just absolutely horrific. And in traditional India, the idea of eating a cow, which is one's mother or father, is also absolutely horrific. In certain countries, it's completely normal as it is to eat cows and pigs and chickens in the first world countries. They call it first world because of scientific advancement and information advancement. So those who are dog eaters, traditionally in India, dogs were considered among the lowest animals, just next to pigs. And only because of what they would eat and other things as well. Dogs also urinate on plants, and they would urinate on Tulsi Devi, so it's considered quite a low birth. And those who would eat pigs were considered also lowly, and those who would eat dogs were considered lowly. This is a lowly kind of birth, and it's considered far away from the nature of those who are practicing Sanatana Dharma or Vedic culture. So a dog eater was considered very low. But what does Krishna say in Bhagavad Gita? Vidya vinaya sampane brahmane gavihashtini shuni chaiva svapake cha pandita samadarshana. So svapake means also dog eater or chandala. That a sage with equal vision sees the soul in everyone's heart and does not differentiate between a Brahmin, a cow, an elephant, a dog, or the eater of a dog. This is called outcast. So those who are not technically part or within Vedic society, who are eating all kinds of things like that, they were considered out of caste. What are the castes? Well, the Chaturvarna. So there's Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. And out of caste, then you would have Mlechas, Yavanas, Chandalas, cow flesh eaters, and all kinds of atheists, and all kinds of other kinds of, how do you say? I want to say persons, but what they would call untouchables, but I didn't want to say that. I wanted to say those who have not blossomed yet their enculturing of God consciousness. Bhaktivinoda Thakur speaks in Jaiva Dharma in chapter 1 about different levels of consciousness. Just because someone has a human body does not mean that they are behaving within the human platform. And human, according to Vedic culture, is something different than what we normally conceive of. We think human means who has a human form. But according to Shastra, human is that person who is utilizing that form for the endeavor for perfection. In other words, the basic foundation of human life would be satyam, shocham, panam, and daya. They would be merciful, they would avoid intoxications. Merciful meaning they don't kill animals. Avoiding intoxicants. Honest and truthful, so not gambling. And socham, cleanliness. So they're avoiding also all kinds of illicit sensual connections. So these four, they observe, and this is the foundation, Srila Prabhupada writes, of human society. So there's so many different levels of that though. Like budding. Some flowers are completely closed, very small, and some they've developed a bud. And then that bud starts to open a little bit. There's more and more blossoming. So there's different levels of consciousness. And for all of these different levels of consciousness, there are so many different kinds of instructions given in Shastra and also in Bhagavad Gita, according to the individual levels of consciousness. So one can at least start from where they are. And yet, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Mam hi parta vyapashritya yepi syu papayonaya shriyo vaishyas tata shudras tepi yanti param gatim. Interestingly, the other day I saw Srila Prabhupada's purport for this same verse in another place in his books. and the diacritic was in a different location. It was written slightly differently than what it was in Bhagavad Gita in the translation. And even there, Prabhupada confirms what some people have misunderstood. So what is this verse saying? Krishna is saying, whoever takes shelter of me, even if they are low-born. Papa Yoneya means of a sinful birth. Pap means sin, and Yoni means birth. Of a sinful birth. This also means mlechas, yavanas, chandalas, etc. But they put a colon there instead of a comma. So basically one dot, or there was a colon instead of a semicolon. Instead of a comma. One dot or one thing out of place. And so it made it appear that all of those that followed, Shtriyo, Vaishya, and Shudra, are included within those who are of a sinful birth or low birth. And our Gurudev said, no, there's so many who are Vaishyas and Shudras and ladies who are of a very high birth. So this one point doesn't make sense. And Srila Prabhupada writes it that this is not referring to that all women are of a low birth and all Shudras and all Vaishyas are of a low or sinful birth. This is not what Krishna is saying here. So it means those who have this birth outside of Vedic culture, who are by their birth, in a sense, naturally moving about just like animals. So Bhagavatam says, two-legged animals. Dvipada Pashu, two-legged animals. Because if one is only engaging their life in eating, sleeping, mating, and defending, what is the difference between that and any other animal? Same thing. The speciality of the human form is that the human form affords one the opportunity to choose to either remain within samsara or to get out. That's the choice of the human form of life. So Srimad Bhagavatam says, as long as one's body and soul are together, they should utilize every moment in the endeavor for perfection. That is the rare and valuable opportunity that this human form of life affords us. So, Chandala is considered one of those persons who are in essence in that situation according to their karma. But yet, Krishna is saying, if they surrender unto me, even if they have this sinful birth, or if they are Shudra or Vaishya or a lady or whatever, what have you, it's not only for Brahmins, he's saying. It can be from any situation. Tepi yanti param gatim. Param gatim means the supreme destination. They can attain to that supreme destination. So also when he's saying Vidya Vinaya Sampane, that the humble sage by virtue of equal vision is able to see that the Jiva Atma is inside each and every one of these. And that Jiva Atma has the same birthright. It doesn't matter what form, whether it's in a Brahmana or a cow or elephant or this or that, that Jivatma's birthright, the nature of every jiva is Jivera Swarupa Hoy Krishner Nityadas. All are eternal servants of Krishna, therefore all have the right to love and serve Krishna. And Mahaprabhu proved this when he went through Jharikanda forest, that even the animals, those who are natural enemies, those who are the food of another, those who are always hunting, still, by the presence of Mahaprabhu, he awakened within them all their Atma. And they all began chanting the holy names of the Lord and embracing one another without reservation. So, not to speak of seeing you personally, merely by hearing the holy name of your Lordship, only once, even Chandalas, the men of the lowest class, are freed from all material contamination. That is why Mahaprabhu inaugurated this Sankirtan movement. Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. All glory, all victory to supreme victory, to this Shri Harinam Sankirtan. And by the medium of one of his prominent hands, our Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, this Hare Krishna Mahamantra was spread throughout the entire world in very short time. And so many heard this Mahamantra, whether they realized it or not, and it had effect. Whether they realized it or not. Our Gurudev, he said, if someone is going to kill an animal, that person who's going to kill that animal and that animal who's being killed, the vibration will touch them and they will be purified. We might not see it or understand it, but here it is saying, not to speak of seeing you personally, merely by hearing the holy name of your Lordship only once, even Chandalas, men of the lowest class, are freed from all material contamination. Under the circumstances, who will not be freed from material contamination simply by seeing you? So, we will end here. It's quite beautiful and quite merciful that there is no boundary for the mercy of the holy name. From the most qualified to the most unqualified, to the lowest, to the most fallen, even the most sinful, all can be benefited. All jivas are able to cross over. Saba jiva hoilo par premiravata se. On this favorable boat of, what is it? The human form of life. Guru is the captain. The Sankirtan party with its upraised arms are the oars, and the favorable winds of prema are propelling it forward. They're able to cross over this entire ocean of material existence in a very short time. Sabha jiva hoilo par. All jivas are able to cross. Only myself, due to my own fault, I have been left behind. This is what Poriya rohilo lochan apanar doshe. Due to my own fault, I have been left behind. But this is his humility. Of course, he's not left behind. But we should have a hopeful expectation that yes, the holy name is capable of breaking through even a hard heart like this one. Narasimhadev Bhagavan can break out of a pillar. Radharaman can manifest from Shila, from stone. Yes, this heart might be hard like steel. Hiranyakashipu's form was hard, harder than steel. Even the thunderbolt of Indra could not make a mark on it. How powerful and strong was his form. And yet, very simply, with his beautiful lotus-like nails, Sri Narasimhadev Bhagavan was able to penetrate that darkness and liberate even that personality, especially due to his connection with the pure devotee, Sri Prahlad Maharaj. So, coming into contact with any pure Vaishnava, taking shelter of them, our Hiranyakashipu-like natures, our Hiranyakashipu-like hearts can be pierced. I forgot to tell the prayer on Narasimhadev Chaturdashi. We were having so much difficulty with the connection. Sri Narasimhadev Bhagavan, we can pray to him, please remove all of these anarthas, especially lust, anger, greed, madness, envy, pride, all of these things. With your sharp nails, you can remove all of that and allow the devotee, the bhakta, to awaken. What happened to Chankazi? He was offensive. He broke the mridanga. But by the mercy of the Lord, Sri Narasimhadev Bhagavan came to him in his dream and showed him a little bit of mercy, scratched his chest and said, if you ever again. And what happened? Mahaprabhu came very soon afterward with hundreds of thousands of devotees. And Chankazi revealed to him, I had this dream. This half man, half lion came and he showed him. He had scratches on his chest. So this is the mercy of the Lord. Even such a person who is so hard-hearted that they will break the mridanga, which is the representation of Baladev Prabhu, Nityananda Prabhu, who is serving in Kirtan. Even that person can receive mercy at this time, the time of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, by the grace of Sri Nityananda Prabhu. So we have come full circle back to Sri Nityananda Prabhu. Sri Nityananda Rama ki jai, Sri Sachinandan Gaur Hari ki jai, Srila Gurudev ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Rupanuga Gauriya Guru Varga ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Jai Gurudev, 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 Jai Gurudev, Jai Gurudev, 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 Jai Prabhupada, 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 Jai Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada, 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 Gaur Premanande Hari. Srila Gurudeva ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Rupanuga Gauriya Guru Varga ki jai, Patik Pavan Shri Nityananda Prabhu ki jai, Prem Purushottam Sachinandana Gaur Hari ki jai, Radha Vinod Bihari Ju ki jai, Radha Ramana Ju ki jai, Giriraj Maharaj ki jai, Harinam Sankirtana ki jai, Hare Krishna Mahamantra ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Nitai Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Govinda Damo Madhaveti, Govinda Damo Madhaveti, Govinda Damo Madhaveti, Govinda Damo Madhaveti. much for being with us today and giving us the opportunity to remember so many beautiful instructions and teachings of our Gurudev and Guru Varga, and especially just for being all together to study this beautiful transcendental literature, Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat, which is full of nectar, and the result will also be nectar. Also, we'd like to express our indebtedness to each and every one of you for daily giving us the opportunity to follow the order of our Srila Gurudev, which is our life and soul. We look forward to being with all of you tomorrow. Dandava Pranam.
Dandava
Hare
Pranam.
Krishna. Radhe
Radhe
Radhe.
Radhe.
Shri Radha Vinu Bihari Ju Shachinandana
Gaura
Gaura Hari Ki Jai.
Ci vediamo domani. Hasta mañana. Kal milenge. Tat morgen. Bis morgen.
Radhe
Radhe Shyam. Radhe Radhe. Hey mom.
Radhe.
Mano mama. Radhe Radhe.
Manamama Mandir.
Here's some extra special for you here.
Whoa.
Okay. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.